Good morning and welcome to my garden. Last week and early this week I really enjoyed redoing this bed and it looks pretty good now. Mushroom compost, horse manure, soil, strawberries, rhubarb, bananas and a rose. I think I'll get some more chop and drop for it from elsewhere, but I'm pretty happy with how it looks now and it's all set up to do really well in the coming season. So now I put my attention to contour 1 on the east, partly because I need to connect this watering system up so it's all part of the main grid, and that means I need to finish the bed here. So along the eastern side of this bed I've got my chop and drop row. The pigeon pea is covered with seeds, so I should probably chop that now. I don't want those seeds to all germinate in place. That would be too many pigeon pea plants. I want to get rid of this arrowroot and lemongrass at the end here. I've decided that I'll keep all my chop and drop in the chop and drop row, and I'll allow my vegetables and perennials to come all the way to the end in the vegetable and perennial row. And I think that'll make it look tidier too. And I won't have to worry so much about my chop and drop plants encroaching on my fruit trees. This nectarine here has been regularly smothered by various plants. Mind you, it has grown very, very well. I remember being concerned about how it would grow with the arrowroot being so close to it. I don't think it skipped a beat. It's looking very pleasing. So now I'm cleaning up here. I wasn't intending to clean it up just yet. I was intending to do the watering system, but the cleanup always seems more appealing because you can see the change, and already you can see how much tidier it is. This is jalapeno chili. They had a lot of dead branches on them and I've pruned them off and added them to the chop and drop row. And now it just looks lovely because all you can see is the new growth. These capsicum plants have never done really well, and so I have not got any fruit off these. My basil plants here have largely gone to seed, so I chopped all the seed off and I'm going to spread that around. This chili plant is huge and I don't use so many of these chilies. I believe they're bird's eye chili. They're very hot and you can see the shrub just keeps multiplying, so I'm going to reduce that down. I've also had some yacon in here and that has died down and is reshooting. I have harvested a few tubers from here, but I'm just going to leave the rhizomes to regrow because I have nothing else that needs to go in this bed at the moment, and this bed's kind of turned into a perennial bed. I had an apricot that died and I replaced it with a nectarine, and that nectarine is looking really, really happy. This pineapple has already produced a fruit and it looks like it's got a new side shoot on it, a pup that's growing very strongly and getting ready to produce another one. This nectarine is a lot smaller than the other ones, but I have grown all my fruit trees from seed, so I can't say exactly what genetics they're going to end up with, and that's part of the reason why I grew them from seed, so I have variety in the garden. Got another pineapple coming on here. This stone fruit is looking really happy. This one is an apricot and it's got a nice open shape because I pruned it such, with a nice open centre. Another pineapple plant, and this nectarine at the end here is also doing really well. It's a lot larger than the other one and it doesn't seem to have suffered from being smothered by the arrowroot. So that's an interesting learning. Young fruit trees don't mind a bit of smothering. So I'll take this chili down to size, pull out the spare plants, remove this arrowroot and lemongrass, and then I shall put in the watering system. Are you enjoying hearing about my garden? Let me know. Hit the like button or send me a comment. It'd be good to hear from you. I have never regularly watered this garden bed, and the result is that the soil is quite hydrophobic. You can see here that the water is just pooling on the surface. It's just not going in. and that's using drip irrigation. Imagine if I just sprayed it, it'd all just stay on the surface and run away. Well, I have hope that over the coming weeks, when I start watering it with this drip irrigation system, that the water will start creating wet patches in the soil, and that will over time make the soil a lot more welcoming of water and less hydrophobic. So the next step after I finish cleaning everything up is to plant vegetables near the drippers, and then I will give it a lovely mulching with chook pen mulch. So that'll be grass clippings with lots of chook manure mixed through it and plenty of vegetable scraps and random seeds from the kitchen. So that should transform this garden bed and hopefully bring an end to this hydrophobic soil and create a more beautiful growing condition for plants. Now I've got the whole garden all irrigated, including down here where I had zinnias growing last year, and the poor things never got watered. I don't know how they survived. Now I've got sweet peas growing on this trellis that'll actually get watered, and hopefully they'll produce something beautiful. My little nectarine there, its roots will be happy to go over to the water too. And that's how I've organised my garden beds across the entire garden. I need my annual vegetables to have lots of water, and the fruit trees will be able to send their roots over this way, and they'll be able to benefit from the water that I put on the vegetables. So very happy to have this garden all irrigated, and it's also weeded and it's all pruned. So the only other thing I need to do is a chop and drop session. Now typically I wouldn't chop and drop. Now it's September, it's our driest month, and there is no rain forecast for the coming days. So it's pretty dry. However, now that I've got a watering system up, I'm less concerned about that. Plus, I like finishing a job before I move on. It will also allow my stone fruit to receive the morning sun, and that's going to be important now that they're starting to come back with new growth and flowers. So my chop and drop row will be added to, and my Syntropic plants will be chopped down. Okay, so I've just taken down this papaya here. It was in the worst condition, while the others have some leaf growth after the frosts of this winter. This one had no leaf growth. You can see the one last leaf that's left on the plant was looking pretty sad. So I decided that it could come down. Now, how high should you chop off a papaya? Okay, I've been experimenting with chopping them off and finding the place to put the cut so that the centre of the plant doesn't fill with water. This particular plant, its shoots are here. So knowing that part of the trunk is often hollow, I chose to cut it a fair distance above that so that if this part was hollow, I could cut it down. I'm pleased to see I managed to cut it near a solid part. I hope that that will harden up. That's the angle it is. I would cut the angle stronger, but I'm afraid of cutting through the thick part into a hollow part, and then all the water will go in and I'll have to cut it lower. It's also interesting to note the shape of the trunk. So if you look at the shape of the trunk here, you can see it's really smooth, and then it gets really gnarly. Now, I'm not quite sure what caused that kind of growth. If we look at the rest of it here, that actually looks quite good here, and it's quite consistent all the way up. But just that section there looked really gnarly, so I was hoping that section would have a lot of solid parts through it. I assumed it meant that that part of the tree had gone through a tough time and it had to strengthen itself, and it would do that inside with the solid core. So that's another reason why I chose to chop there, just below the clean part and just above the messy part. We're all cleaned up. Contour 1 on the east is ready to grow. I have cleaned out all the weeds and the unproductive plants from the vegetable side. I installed the watering system yesterday, and this garden got its first watering for a very, very long time. And I came down this morning and all the plants are looking brighter. The leaves are greener, they're standing up straighter. I've never seen this garden look so happy, even though it's pretty empty. But clearly it was starving for water, and I'm hoping that this second watering today will help transform it.